Yes, yes, you already know who it is when you hear that voice. It's your boy DJ Skee, and you know that I'm here. You know that I only touch greatness. And right now, you're rocking with I Only Touch Greatness, the podcast. DJ Skee, let's go.
And how'd you first meet Game? And when was that?
Sure, I met Game. So when I moved to LA, I was working for Steve Rifkin and Loud Records. I remember one of the guys that I worked with introduced me to his friend. He's like, hey, he's managing this new artist that Dr. Dre signed. This is way before 50 Cent came out or anything else. He's like, you got to check him out. His name is Game. I heard him for the first time and I was like, wow, this dude's incredible. Like, he's going to be a superstar, especially given the backing and stuff. And we hooked it up and just became friends and kicked it. It started just as a relationship amongst I was still DJing, but I hadn't made it on the DJ side, right? So it was just cool. Started doing like little mixtapes, and he'd always show love or give me records for it. I was doing marketing for T-Mobile back in the day with Sidekick, so I'd always hook him up early. And then got to watch. I remember he's like, man, they might want me to, do a, partnership with G Unit. What do you think? And I was like, man, that'd be dope. They need the West Coast. 50 on Time is on fire. And then remember, helped putting together the whole album, being there, the video shoots, watching the whole thing come together. We celebrated. I celebrated, I think when I turned 20 or 21, we had similar birthdays. So we had our birthday parties together. And he was just on fire, right? Like, a documentary came out, I forget what year, but late in the year, like October, November, I believe it was. And just watching him go from from being dope artist that not a lot of people knew to signing to G Unit, putting out records, getting this massive buzz. It was awesome watching somebody go from the ground up, from nothing to something big. And then, started seeing the chinks in the armor. And obviously we know what happened between 50 and Game. And remember hanging out with him after, he's coming from New York after the shooting and those things. And then randomly, my studio and my offices at the time, because I branched out and started my own company and I was doing my own radio show on Sirius, and I built a little studio in my offices as I was still trying to make it as a DJ. I ran into him. It was right on Melrose, and I ran into him across the street. I think it was like the Ed Hardy store he was coming out of, and it was just coincidental. I was walking down the street to get lunch, and he was like, yo, I'm going after 50. I'm finally dissing him. They had this peace truce after the beef. And I was like, wait, what? I mean, he gave me like a CD that was the first 3 minutes of 300 bars, first 3 or 4 minutes. And it was all over one beat. So he sent it to me and I was like, he's like, let me know what you think. And I listened to it. I was like, that's dope. But I had an idea. I was like, you need to switch this up. We need to change the beat. We need to do a lot more. This is what you should do. So I just went back in my studio and gave him did a demo of what if you mixed a bunch of records together like this and this and this and switched it up? Because it was all over the KRS-One, the BDP, Love's Gonna Get You beat, which is a dope beat, but you can't listen to that for 15 minutes straight. You'd fall asleep. So I sent it to him just as advice, just hey, you should, just an idea, didn't want anything. And then all of a sudden I got my phone rang 15 minutes after I sent the email. And he was like, I'm on my way to the studio. I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, we're recording it right now. I was like, oh shit, okay, cool. So I got all the records ready and recorded it. And I realized at that moment, when that came out, damn, this is, as a DJ, you get very few opportunities to really get your name out there. And producing that record, especially once it came out, literally a day and a half later after we recorded it, I remember going up to Big Boy Show out here in LA, premiering it on the morning show, premiering it on Sirius, sending it to all the big DJs, and just seeing the groundswell. And this is before Twitter and a lot of social media. There was really only MySpace at the time. So it would have been insane seeing what happened today. Almost thankfully that stuff wasn't around, or it would have been a lot more. It would have been a lot more drama and problems.
Quick time out. MySpace, man, that was the greatest time. The MySpace app alone was awesome and brilliant for its time. Yeah. Continue on. Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah, exactly. And it's funny. I was actually doing marketing for MySpace. I met the CEO and we started doing all the music, and we launched a whole DJ program for them. So just all these worlds coming together when we talk about it. But so we put that record out and I was like, shit, this is my opportunity as a DJ. You get very few opportunities in your life, and it's putting yourself, success and an opportunity comes from, working hard and then being kind of lucky that those moments happen. But they're things that you've been working on a long time, and then recognizing it and jumping all in. So I realized look, this is my opportunity as a DJ, sold my, interest in my company, and just focus full time on my DJ career. And then that was the set off. So that's the story with Game and how we got connected. And then obviously a ton of mixtapes and a ton of other stuff from there on.
And I even had the GU Not shirt back in the day. I bootlegged the whole Stop Snitching, Stop Lying. I had to like illegally download it on BitTorrent or whatever we used back in 95. Or it was 2005. Man,
I had that. Bro, I had that fucking document. I had that fucking DVD of Stop Snitching, Stop Lying, man. I used to have it. The motherfucker got stolen, man. I was like, ain't this a bitch? They stole my shit. I was like, because once we heard about it coming out, you know what I'm saying? Because back in the days, you had to get on, you know what I'm saying? You had to find it on the magazines and shit. Yeah. And I was like, yo, it got it. And somehow, some odd reason, it came out in Walmart. And I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I'm like, they got we did it legitimately. I remember editing and shooting, and putting that whole DVD together. It's crazy.
Right. Because I was like, what the fuck? I was like, yo, this shit is actually on fucking Walmart. Like, you know, 9 times out of 10, when you have like documentaries and stuff, it would be like usually be Best Buy and fucking Target. It was actually in Walmart, you know what I'm saying, in a small town in Missouri. So
we don't play around. We're global. We're worldwide.
They're global. They're in your tiny ass town in Missouri.
Right.
So
I love it.
So I loved all those mixtapes you did with Game. The whole beef stuff was great. Black Wall Street Journal came. One Blood, of course, was the lead single off that mixtape, but it was also on his album. But the Black Wall Street Journal introduced the whole world to K-Dot's, Juice at the time, now Richie Evans. You got My Buddy, Your Boy. My Buddy, Your Boy. Like, then you went on to chapter 1, The Rise with Your Boy. And this is where my whole company comes from, because Your Boy and Game were my two favorite at the time. And
shout out to him.
Yes, of course. There we go. We get to drink one. Fuck yeah.
Shout out to Your Boy, man. That's a real true motherfucker. I love real true motherfuckers. And Rich Rocker, Your Boy is a real motherfucker for real.
Yeah, we had Rich Rock on the show last year. Actually, he was my very first episode. I went for the big guns right out of the gate. I went and got my favorite person other than Game and you. So I've always spent my whole life trying to get as close as I could to Game. So chapter 1, The Rise, Your Boy. Then in the intro, you say, "I only touch greatness."
Yeah.
You remember that?
Of course, one of the classic lines.
That's okay. And that's my company name. From that day forward, I had all my mixtapes called I Only Touch Greatness. I Only Touch Greatness. I Only Touch Greatness. We did 4, 5, 6 of them. I Only Touch Greatness. Now, 20 years later, my podcast is called I Only Touch Greatness. All because you said that on a Your Boy song in 2005.
Isn't it amazing, right?
Yeah. That's fucking awesome.
That's great.
Okay, next question. What made you start Skee TV? You're kind of like us. We were doing sports interviews, music interviews, everything as well. Why pick a lane when you can have them all?
Exactly. When I started Skee TV, it was a combination. Like I've always been up on technology and trying to pay attention to what was next. And when I saw YouTube, I knew that was like the future of content, and there was something big there. And I realized what I was doing was really interesting, right? Because I was on one hand, working with all these big companies, buying sneakers, traveling the world, DJing, putting out mixtapes, interviewing artists on radio, et cetera. So I was like, there's something crazy happening kind of every day in my life. So I was like, let's just start putting up pieces of content every day. Didn't really put together a business plan. I just knew it would turn out to be something. So I had my assistant at the time. We went and got a camera and we just started shooting stuff, right? Like, and putting it up. It was like a vlog before that was even a thing. And we ran that for about 10 years. It ended up morphing from, being a daily vlog to, a music production house where we kind of revolutionized the ways music videos were shot. Everybody used to shoot them on actual film, and it cost a fortune. We'd shoot them on 5Ds and Reds and cameras that were much cheaper and much more efficient. So we kind of ushered in this whole new era for the way to shoot music videos. Then, adjusted working with brands. Mark Cuban emails me one day and is like, I love the content. I'm flipping my TV network into music. So ended up doing a TV show him and then Fuse, and yeah, it was a great run and a great experience. And you know, we generated billions and billions of views, won plenty of awards, turned it into 5 years on TV. It was crazy.
You're legit the man. Like
we just go out and look. I always try to just have fun and do cool stuff, and luckily and find ways, like everything kind of works its way out.
And I hear you too. And like what I always looked at you and it was like, this guy's in every line of business, whether you're sports cards, you're DJing at the Vikings games, like all these things. I got questions about these. Don't worry. But yeah, I saw you as a guy that had his hands in everything, and business wise and smart wise, you were ahead of the game. And I'm the same way. We kind of go the same way. We got the podcast. I used to be a DJ. I run a t-shirt company. If you want to stag t-shirts, we got stag t-shirts for you. We'll put your own stupid logo on it. Like all these kind of things. Like I just got to keep hustling. You got to have your hands in every pot possible until one of them hits.